Australian standard nets, obviously being fully enclosed, there is a significantly reduced window that balls can come out. And you've also got to remember that that window is where all of the bowlers and cricket people are standing. So you can't get elevation out of there because you've got a roof net for the full 25 metres. So the only way is basically to hit the ball dead straight and low, and you've got a whole heap of cricket people standing there. So the chance of a ball going beyond that with any impact is almost negligible. Yep.
Okay, Councillor Palmer.
Warwick. A number of people I've spoken to have got a concern that during the off-season, whilst the nets have been fully retracted, that the posts will still be there. Can you confirm that they will, in fact, if that's the case, or whether they'll be removed?
Yeah, it's a good question, Don. We don't really know the answer to that at the moment because we haven't gone to that level of design with a provider. So we've had initial quotes. I don't know, Jason, can I ask Jason to perhaps intervene? If that's okay, only because he was the one that organised the quotes.
Yeah, look,
push the button.
There is many different designs that we can look at. So probably the best and the latest examples at Glenelg Oval. A facility was improved at Glenelg Oval where during the off-season it can be retracted right to the outer edges. So there is poles around the outer edges but no poles on the internal. So that would be probably the design we would be leading towards. So for instance, there'd be poles at the rear would have to remain and poles at the circumference but nothing in the middle.
Okay.
We have to all switch
next
off.
Will be,
do you want to follow up?
Luke Doyle.
I think.
No, I'll follow the lights, Luke. I'll come round. If you want to ask another one, put your light on again.
I had the same question as Councillor Palmer, so.
So you're right. Okay. Next, Councillor Russo.
It's me. Thank you, Warwick, for the informative explanation here, which we have heard multiple times, and I don't have any doubt that why you're doing this is for the safety of the sport. Considering you also rely heavily on volunteers, really, if there is no change and no improvements being made to the types of nets that you are requesting, and particularly the size that they need to be to enable that safety, is there a risk to the cricket club in regards to your liability and also in regards to you being able to function as a club and liability you as volunteers and so forth as well to run the sport?
I don't believe there's a direct... we've been using them as they are now, and there's other clubs that have nets that are not up to the Australian standard, but it's certainly an increased risk, and there's constant balls going out into where people are, and it's only a matter of time before people get hit. We've had numerous people hit at various stages over the years, luckily, all being fairly minor, but a lot of balls escape that net enclosure. So I don't believe, and I'm not an expert in this, as you said, we're all volunteers, so I'm not an expert in this by any means, but I don't believe there's any liability issues for us. We're not going to lose any members from it. It's just not ideal, and there is an increased risk element there for sure.
I think, as Warwick said, though, this is a foundation project for the upgrade of the oval. So if you can imagine the upgrade of the oval and the location of the current nets, we would lose, obviously, the usage of the oval for a season, but we would also, being so adjacent, lose the cricket nets as well. So what we fear is that the majority of our bar and revenue from the club comes after training, both junior and senior, on a Tuesday, Thursday and Friday night. We would potentially lose that, also not being able to train. There is no other options to train anywhere else, so we're certainly, a lot of the good work we've done with members, building juniors, building the inclusive, building the young kids in the club. It would be difficult to keep them if we didn't have any facilities at all, really.
Okay. Next, Councillor Bonham.
Yes, sorry, I forgot.
Yes, Councillor Bonham.
I forgot to ask this question before. Sure. In terms of the hours, the times of practice, I know it's Monday to Thursday, was that right? And then some practice on the weekends before a match.
Yep.
How long are those sessions for? And what sort of times?
I did detail that back in August when I did the presentation.
Yeah,
No, that's okay. I'm not having a go at it by any means. But Monday to Friday we train because we have
Oh, it is through to
our
Friday.
girls, our junior girls for only about an hour and a half on a Monday. Seniors for a couple of hours on a Tuesday. Our inclusive only for an hour or so on a Wednesday. Seniors Thursday, and then boys on Friday. And the weekend usage is just as cricketers do and as footballers do. They like to warm up before they play, so that's just a half an hour or three-quarters of an hour in the nets before the games.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, you need Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, if I can follow up on that last question. Am I hearing you correct? The external post that would be in the southwest corner of this facility would be permanent?
Well, well, it
West.
depends where the... well, I think all of these things are optional, Don. So we don't know yet, but if the council, for example, said that when the nets are retracted, we want this interior area open for community use, then we'd come up with a design that meant that the main structural pole had to come out. It might be that it sits in a large sleeve and gets retracted out and the sleeve gets covered over, or something along those lines. But essentially, as Jason's saying, ideally you need 4 posts in the 4 corners so you can erect some strength. Now, if on one side you've got the concrete pitches, the hard wicket pitches, you've got a permanent structure there. So your permanent poles would be part of that. Your back fence that the tennis is on the back of the tennis, that's going to be a permanent pole, and again, no impact to anybody. So the one remaining pole is the one potentially out, as I think you've said, from the southwest sort of point. If we found an ideal spot for it, it'd be permanent. If it was in a terrible spot and had to be removed, we'd work out a way to make it a pole that could be taken out of a sleeve.
Again, we're happy to take any council that's interested to Glenelg Oval. This is the latest one. So at the northern end behind the football goals is being the fully retracted turf. We're talking about turf facility.
I'm happy with your answer.
So there'd be no poles on the southern side. No poles on the southern side.
Yeah, that was the important thing that I was looking for, because a number of people that use the oval for other reasons were concerned that those posts would be permanent and therefore present a danger, or at least an obstacle. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Beat.
Thank you, Worship. Well, just harking back to the question about reducing the number of turf nets, pitches, and you said you'd be satisfied with 8 instead of 10. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, I've seen lots of turf pitches go very, very brown and hard during the summer months.
Yep.
And you talk about the rejuvenation of the others and giving them a rest.
Yep.
Are you really comfortable with that scenario, that you won't be able to rejuvenate them as quickly because you won't have as many to rotate between?
Yeah, I am. Look, it's far from ideal, and thinking towards the future about where this club might be in the next 10, 20, 30 years with continued population growth, and we're in a great demographic. We've got families all around us, lots of kids that want to play. So if we're thinking, more towards the future, I think it would be, better to have additional pitches that you could utilise, and hopefully in the future we could have more than 2. We'd have 3 or 4 turf pitches utilised for actual trainings. But look, if it was a showstopper in regards to us getting permission to move, like I said, my number one priority is safety. I really don't care what we get as long as we get them moved and brought up to standard. So if it was 8 pitches is what it had to be, we'll make it work. And you still get the pitches rotating every 4. Like if you use 2 pitches for a week, it's going to be 4 weeks before it's utilised again. So,
Okay.
not ideal, but...
And Councillor Bernanke.
My questions have just been answered.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. And please plan for the next 100 years. We've had 100 years where we've had facilities that won't fit. So we got undersized tennis court, we had an undersized hockey pitch, and we got cricket nets which hit out onto the oval. Let's get it right. So please plan for the 100 years. Don't just plan for 5.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a bit of a plea. Mind you, I won't be round for 100 years, but there will be people here. Next, hang on, just get my list. Stephen, I know it's Stephen. Thank you. Stephen Mitchell. Thanks, Stephen. Goodwood Primary School Council and the leadership of a parent group that runs after school hours for children at Goodwood Primary in soccer.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, elected members. My name is Stephen.
Can you put your light on? Because that's it. The people at the back get frustrated if they're sitting there not being able to hear.
I would too. Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, elected members. My name's Stephen Mitchell, and I'm the volunteer sports coordinator at Goodwood Primary School. I also work and have 4 kids, and I also have a lot of interest in this issue because my youngest son James, he plays for the Goody Roos. Both my boys play junior football for the Saints. I myself am a patron Saint member, and I enjoy watching the Goodwood Saints play. My 2 daughters, Hannah and Emma, play hot shot tennis at the tennis club. I spend my winters on Tuesday night with under-11 soccer, Wednesday with Goodwood Primary School, under-11 football, Wednesday is soccer, Thursday is tennis, Friday is under-12s football training, and then Saturday morning is Goodwood Primary School games, followed by the Goody Saints. Sunday, we're back again for 2 games of Goodwood Saints junior football. Goodwood Oval is extremely precious to me, but it's extremely precious to the community of the Goodwood Primary School. I don't think, and it is in no way to suggest any blame of anyone, I do not think it's controversial that Goodwood Primary School and the reliance we place on the hockey pitch in particular for our out-of-school program was overlooked in the initial design and planning stages of this. I think it was a surprise to many to discover that we in fact played our soccer games there. That's not a huge surprise to me in many ways because we have only relatively recently been able to get access to it, with the hockey club now vacating the premises. However, that does not detract one moment from our need for that space. There is no readily available alternative space for us now to play soccer for the over 100 Goodwood Primary School students. And when our 100 players turn up to play, there's an opposition. So there's 200 plus kids and all of their associated families. Every second Saturday morning, it's either 5 or 6, depending on how the draw works out over winter, who rely on that space so that they can play community school soccer. I want to talk briefly about what that means. The Goodwood Primary School out-of-hours sports program isn't at all provided by the Education Department. It is based on the school community. We enjoy the support of our school administration for registrations, etc. But I am not alone in this. We have 60 volunteer sports coordinators and coaches who will come from our parent community to provide these opportunities in hockey, soccer, netball. We have a run club, we have basketball, and I think I mentioned netball, but I can't recall if I have or not. All of which is run for members of our school community who, without the ability of a community to offer it to them, would have very limited other alternative options. School sport is actually fundamentally different to club sport. Club sport is important. You probably noticed at the outset I'm heavily involved in club sport. I strongly support the safer cricket nets. They are important not just for the club but for my own Goodwood Primary School cricket community. And I can tell you, if they're not club players, if they're school players, they're far more likely to not be paying attention. The situation for our cricketers requires new nets. But where the rubber hits the road on this issue for us is the inability for us to set up a full-size, and not even full-size, a workable senior soccer pitch. A proper soccer pitch should be 75 metres long for this age group. We currently play on a pitch which is about 65 metres because we simply don't have the space. On the northern end of the hockey pitch, we have a small under-7s pitch, 25 metres by 40 metres. We may be able to accommodate that in the returned area of the cricket nets, but more importantly, we hope that the old cricket nets area will be reinstated as grassed area so that we can utilise that area at 8 o'clock and possibly 9 o'clock on the Saturdays for our under-7s. But the senior soccer pitch requires approximately 65 metres. 1 minute. I would like and invite you to address and consider closely the detail of the plan of what is proposed for the tennis extension. It isn't just 2 additional 2-metre paths. if you add up what they are asking for in the detail of the plan, you will quickly realise, and if you take a trundle mill out, as I have on multiple occasions, and that the current existing length is 67.3 metres. If you add up the meterage required for their plan, it is 74.44, which means that it is 7.14 metres required. The 8.3 that is indicated, I cannot make add up. It is possible that it is requiring 200 millimetre footings between each of the fences for the path. I would commend to you the idea of reducing it to one path. If it was one path...
Your last sentence.
Your Worship, I asked for an extension of time.
They said members wish to grant an extension of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I need 2/3, don't I? Okay, no, thank you. But your last sentence, I'll give you your last sentence. No, Stephen, say your last sentence.
My last sentence is this. I'm very grateful that the council, when they became aware of us, drew breath and said, hang on, we should actually look at what Goodwood Primary School does use this for and what it is that they need. We should revisit those things which we approved without perhaps considering all other alternative and required uses. And I'm so very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, elected members. And I'll be very pleased for questions.
Yep. Any questions? Councillor Bonham.
Yes, Stephen, thanks for coming to speak to us about this. My son used to play soccer for Goodwood Primary School many, many years ago, so it is dear to me. With the reduction, if you're saying that the extension of the tennis courts would only be 7.1 metres, would that actually give you enough space once the cricket pitches are in place? Would that give you enough space to have the senior primary school students play, or should it be back to 6.3 metres?
I think with slight tweaking, we would have enough room. Much like Warwick, we will, I think, just be left in a position where we'll have to make it work unless it's simply unfeasible. But to be very clear about this, the design document, there was, I think it's the acronym's CAP, but I'm not sure if that's the right acronym, is the only one I've found which has the actual meterage required by tennis. And when you reverse engineer those numbers, it comes back to 2.3 that is required for the runbacks. So there is an additional 6. I believe that 6 is utilised with 2 additional spoon drains, each at 450 mils, which is about 0.9 or nearly a metre, and possibly large footings for each of the fences that are going in. So if there was one additional pathway removed, it wouldn't just be 2 metres. It would be at least 2.4 because they've included these additional footings in the entire length of the encroachment. And I think the ship may have sailed to move spoon drains, but if there was a way for them to run them north-south rather than east-west, then we would have an additional metre again. And with the 2 metres and possibly 2.4 metres, I think possibly yes. I think we would have enough to make it work. It would not be ideal. You must also remember it's not just the 65 metres for the length of pitch. We need a good 2 or 3 metres before the kids run into a pole. So I want to make sure that we're not squeezed into a position where it becomes unsafe in the interest of making other things safer. There's also spectators who stand on the sidelines, and every time we lose a metre of spectator space on the side of a soccer pitch, in this instance to increase the spectator spaces inside of tennis, there's the 100 kids that are actually running around are at risk, as distinct from the elite tennis players who have to choose one path.
Russo.
Sorry, I apologise.
Your question, Councillor Russo.
Thanks, Stephen. Look, interested obviously in how we use the remaining space. It was utilised obviously originally for Frostville Hockey Club and no longer. So I come from a sporting background, so I get it, and when it comes to measurement sizes and so forth of what's required. But my understanding, we're talking about under 12s soccer, which is a 9x9 format, basically. Therefore, the size of the pitch, my understanding, is anywhere between 60 and 70 centimetres as far as the rules are concerned. So if it was done at 60, have we still got room to be able to use that space with having at that size?
I think that's a question for staff.
Well, he spoke about the size, so he said it said to be 75, and I've understood from what I've read it's between 60 and 70. So I'm just asking his understanding.
I'll ask on that point, but in terms of how it fits all on,
I'll be pleased to answer it because it's the difficulty for us. There's probably two factors to it. The first, we play in an unusual league where they change the number of players. It's only been 9 aside for this year. Previously it was 11. More importantly, however, is the 2 half pitches. So we don't just have one seniors pitch and somewhere else to play our under-10s, which are 10-year-olds actually. They play on a half pitch within it. So we need to have a sufficient length to fit 2 pitches inside of it. So once you get down to 55s and 60s, with a sufficient buffer between the 2 for people to come through, those smaller pitches become 25-metre pitches, not 30-metre pitches. So the 65 minimum isn't just driven by what's required for the 12-year-olds, it's what's required for the 10-year-olds and the 9-year-olds, which is 2 pitches inside of the full pitch. I'm not sure, do you follow what I'm...
That's fine, but my question was more about what the size of your... Because my understanding is primary school age, so the maximum, we're talking about under 12s and below, which means participation is usually on a smaller scale altogether. So I was just questioning my understanding of the size and what's required, but whether then they're split and so forth, but the maximum size that's needed is between 60 and 70 to cater for your largest age group, which would be under 12s.
Look, I think I'll call it.
We've got clarifying.
2 sets of statements. Any other questions? Thank you, Stephen. If you could switch that one, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, reports of committees. Nil. Item 4.1, Goodwood Oval Precinct Results of Committee Consultation, etc. I've let members know. First up, I thank members, including Councillor Palmer, for letting me know in advance what it was they wished to move. Councillor Palmer and Councillor Gaffey have got 2 alternate proposals which they wish to move as of Friday. That was the case, and it was the case on Saturday. And then today we had a lot more information. And I've been advised that Councillor Gaffey would like Councillor Palmer to go first with his motion.
Please excuse me.
Can we just make sure we've got your motion up there?
Yes, well, I was just going to say I'm looking at option 2 in the form that I sent to members, apart from one small alteration, which I trust will come up on screen shortly, and that's a rewording on clause 4.3.
Okay, is that the change wording? Councillor Palmer, is that wording what you want to?
Let me just read it. Yes.
All right. Is everybody clear? Can the gallery read it? Excellent. So if we're all clear, Councillor Palmer, I'll give you 5 minutes.
Thank you, Your Worship. May I open by indicating that if this motion... I was working on the basis that I'd be the second cab. I move a motion based on option 2, as shown on the screen. It is my intent to do as much as we can for each of the user groups vying for the space vacated recently by the Hockey Club. To do this, I believe each group should be prepared to compromise if this cannot be achieved without compromise by only one. In other words, I hope to accommodate the core needs of each group as I see them. Option 1 provides both Tennis SA and a Goodwood Cricket Club what we believe they are asking for. It does not, however, address the needs, wishes of the other user groups, be that the Goodwood Primary School sports or other recreational users, including but not limited to dog walkers. Let me take advantage of the recent line marking that we're now aware has happened on the field in readiness for the winter school soccer season to demonstrate what's possible. This line marking, previously not available to us, clearly demonstrates to me what opportunities exist or not. As of this weekend, there are 3 east-west soccer fields, one of which, the northernmost, is a reduced length. There is also overlaid over the other 2 pitches a north-south pitch. This pitch is 66 metres in length. I measured it with the help of Councillor Rabbit and my trusty tape measure. It's short of the 75 minimum we've been led to believe is the maximum for the age group this pitch is aimed at. That said, I expect this length to accommodate the previously mentioned northern east-west pitch. Now, should option 1 be approved, both the northernmost east-west pitch and the north-south pitch would be lost. The northern one, because the length of the pitch would reduce to 63 metres, which I suspect is too short. This courtesy of keeping both tennis SA walkways, a length that I believe will compromise the viability of school sport. Option 1 also limits the opportunity to be more precise in what we approve for the cricket nets. We are told that the cricket club wish to increase the number of cricket practice pitches from 4 to 5. This has stressed residents concerned about loss of open space. By my measurements on Friday, this is not the case. The existing 4 concrete pitches are 18 metres wide in total, or 4.5 metres on average each. We're told that they need only be 3.5 wide, and my research via Google reveals they are usually 3.05 wide. Interestingly, the turf practice pitches average 3.1 metre in width, as do the pitches on the oval. If we replicate the 18 metres that exist now, we can provide the 5th pitch, arguably at a pinch, maybe a 6th. In other words, without compromising our green open space. Option 2 provides this opportunity. By reducing the number of tennis walkways, the trespass into the north-south pitch is reduced by 2 metres, bringing it down to 65, which is but 1 metre less than the current markings. This would be a concession by Tennis SA. Option 2 also allows us to be discerning about how many turf pitches are provided. We're told the club wants to increase from 6 to 10, but as we've heard tonight, they're happy to compromise on 8. My option 2 provides for an increase of 8, an option which, added to the loss of 1 walkway, keeps the activity well away from the significant tree that we all want to protect. Tennis SA's concession provides the opportunity for the cricket club, if I have 1 minute extension.
So 1 minute extension.
Oh, okay. I might need 2 then.
Granted.
So the cricket club, by reducing the number of turf pitches, keeping their facility further away from the tree. The school likewise by the loss of the north-east pitch. That said, it would be possible, assuming the north-south pitch is not needed by senior grades, to overlay a smaller north-south pitch over it, using cones for junior grades. By default, option 2 provides evidence, given the marking now available, that junior cricket can be held on this field. That is, whether it's by the cricket club or the school. If one can, so can the other. Beyond this, by restricting the loss of green open space to only that required by a reduced Tennis SA expansion, other users are less compromised. Indeed, I would suggest they are less compromised than what they may believe. The space to the south of the southern goals...
Two sentences.
If I can get... Okay. Or,
2 sentences.
The space to the south of the southern goal will not only be reopened for casual users, dog walkers and the likes, but become more amenable to being used in that the southern end of the oval itself becomes available during cricket practice sessions, something that is not available now. A win, 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 win by my assessment, albeit with each making concessions.
Well, 3 sentences, but 2 short ones. Is there a seconder?
I'd like to second the motion and also just reiterate a couple of the comments that Councillor Palmer made. When we talk about 2.5 metre, 2 metres, it seems like a very small amount of space. But as we know as a council, the green space is at a premium in the Unley Council area, and the Tennis SA, we're losing something like 500 square metres of space in this with this change, whereas with the cricket club we're basically replacing one amount of green space with another. So we really have to think hard about when we're losing green space that, I mean, we have funds we put money into to actually create green space. So when we're looking at losing green space, we've got to really think hard and long about what we do with that space. And as Councillor Palmer said, the 2 metres does make a difference to the school. The school is already giving up one of their soccer pitches that they'll have to find another place for it. So they've compromised quite heavily by not being able to play their under 7 soccer players on the pitch. The Goodwood Cricket Club are also making some amendments by reducing the number of pitches they're asking for, the turf pitches. So I feel it's reasonable to have the tennis also make a compromise, and particularly when we were first advised, well, it seemed to be originally that thought was it was primarily about runbacks. That was the main reason we were given, that the Tennis SA needed the additional space. But the runbacks make up less than 3 metres of the actual space required. The primary amount is the walkways, and there's the spoon drains and the other bits and pieces. So, yeah, I encourage members to support this motion and look at everyone compromising to maintain additional green space, support the Goodwood Soccer Club, and also enable the Goodwood Cricket Club to relocate their nets to the hockey pitch.
Okay. Councillor Bonham. Could you switch yours off, please, Councillor H? Councillor Bonham. Yes. Oh, sorry. Councillor Gaffey, you're next.
I'll yield, that's fine.
No. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Councillor Bonham.
No, because
you're
I'm next.
The flashing light. Oh, Councillor Russo, you're next. Switch yours off. We'll get
Why
Councillor
can we
Bonham.
stick in the order that the lights went on?
Yes, I know. Switch yours off. Councillor Bonham. Off you go. You've got the mic. And then
Right.
Councillor Gaffey.
Okay. First of all, I suppose when the initial decision was made on extending the tennis courts, we didn't have the amount of information that we currently have available. So when that decision was made in 2024, we didn't know about the extent of use of the Goodwood Primary School in that area. We didn't know the extent of the use of people who walk their small dogs on the hockey pitch. So I think we have to take into account the further information that we have available in making this decision. I'm really happy to support Councillor Palmer's compromise, and I do thank very much the cricket club as well as the school sports for being prepared to compromise. I think that's really important. And also the willingness of the various clubs, including Tennis SA and the cricket club, to actually be prepared to share their resources with the school. I think that's been quite important as well. Some key points as to why I'm really happy to support this compromise is, first of all, the impact on the significant tree. I am concerned about the arborist report, where on the one hand it warns us that this particular tree species doesn't take well to its roots being impacted. And having another look at that arborist report, there are some serious large roots that would be impacted by the full extension of the tennis courts. So I think this motion actually helps to address some of that so that those roots won't be so impacted. And hopefully such a significant portion of the tree won't need to be lopped as well. As has been pointed out, the extension, the full extension as being proposed by Tennis SA of their courts will mean over 500 metres of green space becomes impermeable surface. So with a reduction in the extent of the tennis courts, that would reduce it to under 400 metres of green space being replaced with impermeable space. What are some of the other points? My concerns around the impact on the people walking their dogs on the southern area of the hockey pitch, I think they've been allayed by Warwick in his discussion around that. So, yeah, I'm quite happy to support Councillor Palmer's motion.
Okay, Councillor Gaffey, then Councillor Russo.
Your Worship, is it possible to ask a question of the representative from
Yes,
Tennis
you can
SA?
ask a question first and we'll start the clock.
It's of the representative from Tennis SA who was affected by this motion here. Are we able to ask them a question?
We have... sorry? No, look, are you happy to answer questions or not? Sorry? Check. Hang on, just stay there. No, they're not appearing as a deputation.
Okay, well, that's fine, Your Worship.
Okay. The answer's no.
Thank you. Okay. Look, I won't be supporting this motion. I'll be supporting option one. I foreshadow that if this motion fails. What we have here tonight is policy on the run. It's us trying to make decisions with very little input. We're informed that this compromise will be accepted by all, and I'm informed that Tennis SA are not likely to accept it. We know that we've been through this process, that we've gone out to consultation, we extended the consultation. So those members here requested, asked, voted for an extension of the consultation, and yet with 24 hours to go, we're provided with a motion where we're informed that this will be a compromise that will be accepted to all. I asked Warwick how many of his members saw this. Doesn't seem to be anyone. Don't think his committee saw it. So we're relying on Warwick's testimony. Seems like a good bloke, but I'm not sure he can speak for the entire club. The challenges when we make policy on the run is that there are untoward effects of the decisions that we make, that we didn't consider these things because we've thought this up and voted on it at the last minute there. What we know is that cricket requires 25 metres. They need that to provide these pitches there. They compromised at the beginning of this when they came in and asked for 30. Remember that distinctly. So they've already been through this and compromised. So if we know that the cricket requires 25 metres, tennis, we're talking about reducing that from 8 to 6. So you're talking about the overall impact of where this will go from 33 to 31 metres, and that won't have any effect. It'll have an effect if tennis pulls out of the deal. It'll have an effect if the tennis courts are not up to the standard that we are going to try and get them to, and that we're going to provide substandard results. If we take the cricket pitches and go from 15 to 13, as has been explained by Don quite carefully, you're going to take a pole which would have been at the side of the hockey pitch and stick it in the middle. Don't think that's great planning. It's not where I would like to see a pole. I wouldn't want to see a concrete sort of spot placed in the middle of the grass for people to trip over later on. Perhaps we'll put a flag around that. But this is what happens when we get policy on the run. We need to consider these things carefully. That's why we go out to consultation. That's why we need to carefully consider these things and do it properly. Now, I'm reminded of the time when, for my sins, I served on University Union Board, and we got to have a jumper. It was fantastic. Everyone voted that we should have one. But of course, being in a committee, we had to make sure that we all voted on what the design would be. Many of us wanted to have the Adelaide University design, which was black and white. Some of us wanted to have different colours for the South Australian sort of flag on it there. The net result was we were left with a jersey that was black and white with one sleeve that was multicoloured. And I wear it to this day. And my kids say, why do you wear that ugly jersey? And I tell them, because this is what happens when you compromise. This right here is going to be an ugly jersey. This right here is going to be worse for Goodwood by making this compromise rather than following the proper design and process that we've been through over this last 1 to 2 years with the different stakeholders that we sent Tennis SA out and said, go out, get your money, but when you get your money and when you've got your plans in, we're going to wind you back and we're going to tell you what you can do with your design. Then when cricket asks us what we can do and we say, look, compromise, and they do, and we say, yeah, that's not enough at the last minute. We're going to hold a gun to your head and say, we want more. And then we're left with a plan that has been sketched out, not properly presented to us. We haven't seen administration go on it. So we don't know what we've got. We've got a rough idea. We've got a compromise. I won't be voting for this ugly jersey.
Councillor Russo.
I'll be supporting Councillor Gaffey's motion if Councillor Palmer's motion doesn't get up. The reasons is we've been to consultation. We actually, for once, haven't talked much about consultation tonight, but we went out and we've all looked at the results, and on all the elements, basically the community is supportive of what needs to go ahead. It's in favour more than it's against. So my understanding is we've done the consultation, we've heard. I take that as that we go on what was presented and not to be making changes at the last minute, as Councillor Gaffey has been talking about. My concern here is that you cannot compromise on sporting facilities. I am a witness of that as the Chair of Athletics South Australia. I know what that impact is if you don't get it right, because then you don't get the events, you don't get the usage of it in its full entirety. They are putting Tennis SA are putting a significant lot of money into this and have got money to do this properly and well. If they need 2 walkways, they need 2 walkways. I don't think there's any experts on council that can actually say why we should only have one or another because we want to squeeze a bit more this way or that way. We are not the experts. The design has been made. It was done in the parameters that was given to Tennis SA, and they have produced a design that meets their needs, safety requirements and the like for tennis and for community tennis. And we are here pretending to be experts and saying, oh, let's just take a little bit off here, let's compromise. I don't think cricket should be compromising. If they need the 10 for their rotation and the health of what those areas need, those pitches needs, that's what we should have. That's what they put in. They're compromising, and that compromise was only made at the last minute again because, well, if it allows us to get this through, then we'll compromise. But I don't think that's what they really want, or they would have said that in the first place. I'm really concerned that we are making policy on the run, including, yes, we might have overlooked maybe the utilisation of the Goodwood Primary Schools out of school hours sports program and how they utilise it. But at the same time, we were talking about that pitch or that area, the old hockey pitch, to do lots of other things. We were going to use it for other spaces, and there was other types of uses that we're actually going to use that for. So we've had lots of changes with the use of that space. And if you ask me, it's junior sport. Junior sport can be played there, and it can be played, as far as I'm concerned, from my reading, on pitches that are, what I have found, is 60 to 70, not this 75, wherever that's come from. So I'm sorry, if you haven't got the facts right about how that, why are we entertaining another sport, another game in this space, and needing to everyone compromise and everyone fit in, when we were talking not that long ago about using that hockey space for something completely different. Yes, people can use the space. But I think at the end of the day, you've got to be very careful about compromising on sports that actually need to meet certain requirements. And at the end of the day, this is a sporting complex. There is enough green space for people to walk their dogs. I used to live in that area, and I have a small dog, and there's still plenty of room everywhere else. You don't have to just use that for small dogs in that area. Dogs walk everywhere. My concern is here that we're trying to squeeze everything into this one space. My understanding is about football, cricket and tennis predominantly. They're the three main sports. That's their home, and we need to make sure that we look after them and the needs and the requirements of that, or else we won't have tennis facilities there. We might have some community ones, but we won't have the facilities that we need. So I've had enough of us being in the detail and thinking that we know more about what's required and take a bit from here and there. I think the plans are clear. The community has been consulted. They've clearly said, yep, go ahead. And I think that's what we need to do based on what's presented. So it's either option 1, 2, whatever. It's not tinkering with it. So I'll be supporting option 1.
Look, one of my responsibilities, Chair, is to make sure that there's accurate information. Councillor Gaffey wanted to ask questions of Tennis SA. An email was received at 4:04. This is how late it is. I knew tonight it could be very messy, and it is. However, we asked Tennis SA 2 questions. And because not all members may have heard the answers and had the opportunity just coming to a meeting, I think it's appropriate that I read the questions out that General Manager Malik gave and the answers that were given. Question 1. Claude asked, should Council decide to remove one of the 2 proposed walkway between the tennis courts, would Tennis SA support this? The answer. Question 1 response. Tennis SA and Tennis Australia have designed and presented a proposal inclusive of 2 walkways which overall represent safest community standards, best modern practices and will deliver a quality tennis centre for players, spectators and the community alike. Consequently, if Council decides that one of the 2 walkways be removed, we would not be able to deliver the outcomes intended and Tennis SA could not proceed with the project. Question 2. You have previously referred to a participation at the complex. Okay. I don't know what the previous was. Does this relate to participation in a tennis game or does this have a broader meaning? Well, just for completeness, I'm not sure I understand the question, but the answer is participation refers to any competition, organised event or casual play that a player participates or gets involved in. It certainly is a measure of activity that tennis uses because it represents that actual usage of the facilities, events and competitions. I hope that clarifies exactly where tennis stands to the proposal. Okay, Councillor Finos, you're next.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honour. In my view, when considering the future of the facilities at Goodwood Oval, priority should be given to the 3 long-standing tenants of the precinct, the Goodwood Saints Football Club, the Goodwood Cricket Club and Tennis SA. These organisations have been embedded within our community for many years and continue to provide enormous recreational, sporting and social value to residents across the City of Unley and beyond. The usage figures clearly demonstrate the importance of these facilities in our community. The Millswood Tennis Club alone records more than 13,000 yearly visitations, supports around 500 members, involves approximately 500 school participants and accommodates more than 70 community bookings annually. These facilities are not sitting idle. They are heavily utilised community assets, serving local residents, schools, families and visitors to the area.
Okay, stop the clock. You've got a frog in your throat. Enjoy a mouthful.
Oh, thanks. Mate. Okay.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Similarly, the Goodwood Cricket Club has 519 players with approximately 480 residing within the City of Unley. This is a very strong local participation base and reflects the important role the club plays in grassroots sport and community connection. Importantly, many schools are regularly utilising both the cricket and tennis facilities throughout the year, including the Goodwood Primary School, which has historically used both facilities as part of their sporting programs. Now, we don't live in a perfect world, and sometimes compromise is necessary when balancing competing interests around open space, sporting infrastructure and community expectations. However, given that the Tennis Club and the Goodwood Cricket Club have been long-standing tenants and contributors within the City of Unley for many years, I believe priority should be appropriately remained with them at the same time and acknowledge the importance of retaining meaningful open space for the wider community. Open green space remains highly valued by residents, and that must continue to form part of the Council's considerations moving forward. Importantly, the recent survey results provide useful guidance. 90% of respondents either supported or were neutral towards the oval upgrade. Only 17% were non-supportive of the tennis court upgrade, whilst 34% expressed concerns regarding the new cricket practice pitches. I believe much of that feedback relates to concerns around the reduction of informal open space. Additionally, only 18% were negative or non-supportive regarding the proposed cricket pitch usage. To me, these figures demonstrate there are overall broad community acceptance for the direction being proposed, while also highlighting the need to continue balancing sporting needs and the preservation of open community space. For these reasons, I believe the proposal strikes a reasonable balance, and I will be supporting the recommendations before us and supporting option 1. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you. Thank you to the people that have made deputations tonight, to Stephen from the primary school and to, not Linton, it's Warwick from the cricket club. On the weekend, I went out to Goodwood Oval to refamiliarise myself with the space and have seen the line markings of the soccer pitches. And from the start, I've been very supportive of the proposals put forward by Tennis SA and the Goodwood Cricket Club. The now vacated Forestville hockey pitch has predictably become a much wanted and fought for space. A piece of quality turf that size doesn't usually appear out of thin air, but theoretically it has. I acknowledge the difficulties that Goodwood Primary School has had in securing alternative fields for soccer, and I do note they'll benefit from the cricket nets upgrade and investment in the precinct. They have been casual users of the hockey pitch since 2024, which has been fortuitous and a bit of a surprise, I guess, unplanned. If we can make things work for them, then that's great. But our primary objective is to look after the precinct in the longer term in terms of the 3 anchor tenants that we have in the precinct. The football club, the cricket club and the tennis club. I support the tennis courts upgrade and have asked previously the same question about the second walkway. I've had a look on Google Earth and the other comparable tennis precincts in Adelaide, and they do have walkways between them. The difficulty here, however, is we have them sort of north-south. We have 3 rows. So I do admit it's not ideal to have 2 walkways, but I support the proposal overall. There will still be enough green space for the community to use even with the redevelopment. And I'm also very interested to see what we can come up with for the vacated space from the current cricket nets and the oval as an entire precinct. So I will be supporting option 1, not the current motion.
Okay. Councillor Rabeet, you're light, steady, you must be next.
It is. Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, look, I can't support this motion either. I've been a less than ordinary social tennis player, but I've family members who have played competitively, including at the Goodwood Courts. And when I first saw this proposal, I was quite satisfied that we needed to, or they needed to have the 2 walkways, not 1. The walkways aren't solely for players and officials and spectators. They are an important safety issue. With the improvements of tennis, manufacture of tennis rackets, the improvements in tennis balls, it's a much faster game with balls being hit at considerable speed, and hence the need for players to be able to move further around the court. it's important that they be given a safe distance between the courts and backstops. So for safety reasons alone, I think we have to proceed with the two walkways. As far as the cricket nets are concerned, yes, Warwick explained that they are prepared to concede 2 of the turf practice nets, which is good on their behalf, but it does raise the issue that I raised about the rotation of those nets and pitches, and whether they'll be, able to sustain that over a dry summer as we have in Australia with global warming. So I think while it's a generous compromise, I don't see why we should compromise. We're looking at the best standard. If we're going to do this, and as you've suggested, Your Worship, another 100 years, we want to make the best opportunity that we can out of this improvement and this redevelopment. Thank you.
Wow. Councillor Brodecki. I think you're the only one left, Councillor Hughes and Crab.
Yeah, look, there are a lot of changes suggested in the motion by Councillor Palmer. We have not consulted on what's being proposed today, and that's a strong point that Councillor Russo raised. We have not had a briefing or a specific report on what is being proposed through this motion. For the tennis courts, I feel we've committed to the courts with 2 walkways, and that Tennis SA has made their position clear on this. I don't feel the reduction of 2 metres by eliminating a walkway is sufficiently material to achieve the overall outcome for the existing tenants. Lindsay Franzi has stated, and this is what what the Mayor has also stated, and this came through at 406 and not 404.
Oh, sorry. I'd make it apologise. I'll have to read.
I just had to slip that in.
If I made an error, I apologise.
Lindsay Franzi, this did come in late, but Lindsay Franzi has stated, if Council decides that one of the 2 walkways be removed, we would not be able to deliver the outcomes intended, and Tennis Australia could not proceed with the project. So I'm still comfortable with the decision the Chamber had originally made. And yes, we didn't have the whole context of the precinct and the use of the Oval by Goodwood Primary School. But at the end of the day, the requirements for the tennis is the requirements of the tennis, of Tennis SA. And I do note the point that Councillor Rabbit made about the need for walkways for safety reasons, particularly with the way the game is played now, and particularly for doubles matches. In relation to the cricket nets, the key standout point for me is that 952 square metres that will be returned to Goodwood Oval, and there is far and away greater safety associated with this move, and for me that is enough of a reason to shift the nets. Furthermore, the retractable nets will provide another 900 square metres in open space when the grass pitches aren't being used. And having the concrete pitches on the eastern side will help mitigate the risks to the significant tree being adversely affected. In relation to reducing the number of cricket nets, I'm vacillating between the future growth of the cricket club, the need to turn over those pitches, and greater surety in relation to the health of the significant tree, and that's regardless of the arborist report. Having had a look at the marked out hockey pitch, it will mean that the Goodwood Primary School will be adversely impacted, and that really is a concern. Black Forest Good Primary School Oval the Black Forest Primary School Oval has been mooted, but I'm unsure about whether in fact that would be a realistic move for Goodwood Primary School to use that. So that's an issue I think that needs to be worked through. In the longer term, tenants of the Goodwood Oval precinct take precedent here, and so I cannot support this proposal and will support option 1 as it stands.
Thank you, Councillor Bernicki. I do withdraw my apologies. Mine did come through at 4:04. Yours may have come through at 4:06. Councillor Hughes.
Unfortunately, we do have a situation in Unley where simply we do not have adequate open space to meet all emerging needs. In relation to Goodwood Oval, we've given in principle endorsement to tennis for a considerable amount of time, and they've gone away and worked on that. We've presented these plans to the community, and the plans are support. The tennis plans and the cricket plans have support. In relation to cricket and tennis, there are some key features about them. They've got long-standing occupancy rights, 99 years and 100 plus years. They've had capital investment and they've got big capital investment plans coming up. The tennis is guaranteed if we endorse this. They've both demonstrated very high participation rates, cutting for all members of our communities and growing. They've also had a very successful long-term mutual relationship with council, and that has created a bit of reliance, actually, on council for their ongoing success, and I'm definitely going to be supporting them. Now, they have legitimate concerns: safety, run-offs, spectator conflicts, lighting, and these are all going to be addressed if we support this tonight. Now, their needs are not simply nice-to-have needs. They are risk management, participation, safety and sustainability of their sport and the service they provide to the community. So I believe we're obliged to protect the space needed for their long-term functional viability and not damage that due to an emerging demand pressure that we see, quite a valid one, but we cannot. Now, I hope, I trust that the soccer will continue in some format. I have great hopes that there will be other venues. I notice Highgate Primary School is rarely used on weekends, for example. Maybe, who's to say that school sport is going to always be on Saturday mornings? It used to be Friday afternoons. I wonder if their needs can be met by partly 1 or 2 afternoons a week, 1 or 2 games can be played after school. Who knows? And that can be arranged with your opposition. So now, I don't want to be flippant about that, but there may have to be a creative solution like that. So I cannot support the current motion. I'll be supporting option 1.
Okay, I think everybody, Councillor Crabb, you wish to, excellent. Councillor Palmer, your right of reply.
Thank you, Your Worship. And look, sounds like I need to apologise. For some reason or other, having option 2, option 3, option 4 allows for policy on the run. I guess this will be the last time I actually look at the admin's recommendations and take other than option 1, because if I do, I'll be guilty of policy on the run. Look, quite honestly, option 2 addresses the needs that our community laid in front of us in the consultation we had. I read all 421 of our survey results, and the significant percentage of those had problems with components of what is a very complex series of individual projects. So I'll leave it go at that. Yeah, look, compromise, I guess I'll have to recheck whether compromise is something that I should envisage in the future too, because if you're working with flexible rules, as we are with the dimensions of junior sporting fields, in fact, sporting fields period, then I would have thought compromise is something that you could actually achieve. And look, and as far as policy on the run is concerned, once again, we don't have the final proposition from cricket. The motion requires cricket to come back with a detailed design and costings. So as far as policy on the run's concerned, I'll apologise again because it's coming back to us sometime in the future.
At least you didn't get 2 minutes out. Those in favour? You better put you're against it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, Councillor Palmer. Those against? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. The motion is lost. Division. Those in favour, please stand. Thank you. Corporate greenhouse gas. Oh, Councillor God, we got Councillor Gaffey. Please, if you've spoken, please reserve things. We're 8:15 now. Okay, off you go. The motion lost. Councillor Gaffey, your motion.
Just wait for that to pop up there, Your Worship.
Option 1.
That would appear to be it. Your Worship, I'll trust that that's option 1 up there and speak to it. As has already been spoken, each elected member here has spoken to the previous motion and would have similar views, but on the opposing side for this motion there. This motion essentially says that we will follow through with what we've proposed previously, that there will be the expansion of the tennis courts by 8 metres, providing facilities that are appropriate for the community. There will be the moving of the cricket club nets to the hockey pitch, which provides them with security for the future. It provides safety for its players there, and it provides a facility that is going to be far better than anything else that we have in Unley at the moment. I commend it to the chamber.
Okay, seconded Councillor Hughes. Do you want to reserve your right? Oh, Councillor Beat, you're seconding it.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Look, much as this matter's been discussed quite extensively, but I'm very happy to support this motion. It'll provide a much safer and superior complex for tennis players and meet the requirements of Tennis SA, and it will also provide the practice nets that the cricket club are also looking for.
Okay, Councillor Hughes, do you need...
Motion be put.
Is there a second? The motion be put. Councillor Brunetsky, the motion be put. Those in favour? The motion is put. The motion is now put. Put the motion. Those in favour of option 1, please stand. Let's get this. This is option 1. Is that correct? Yes. Those in favour of option. Yes. That's you're voting for option 1. If now, those in favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those against? 1, 2, 3. To make damn sure, I'll call the division. Those in favour, please stand. Sorry, I do apologise. That one. Daniel, thanks. Okay, thank you. Now, there's me stupidly thinking we'd done 4-1. 4-2, corporate greenhouse gas inventory. Look, I'd like to thank all the people coming for that one. You're welcome to come and listen about corporate greenhouse gases, community grants, city relationship proposal, etc. You can slip off when you like. Okay. Now, corporate greenhouse gas things. Councillor Bonham.
Yes, I'm happy to move that the report be received and simply note that our Scope 1 and 2 emissions had a dramatic decline from 2019-2020 to 21-22, but thereafter it's fairly much remained the same. I anticipate that there will be another significant drop once the heat pump from the swimming pool goes in, so that will address those Scope 1 and 2 emissions further. I am concerned that our Scope 3 emissions keep bouncing around, but of course that is due to our ambitions to upgrade our various facilities. But I think that's all that we can say about the report, and thanks very much for staff for compiling that information for us.
Yeah, excellent presentation. Councillor Doyle, second it?
Yes, I'd like to second and... No.
Do you want to reserve your right or speak?
I don't. I want to speak, thank you.
Okay, off you go.
I just thought it was interesting to see the Scope 3 emissions calculated using the spend-based emissions factors. That's a lot of our core business stuff, such as the infrastructure work. I think the extended swimming season last season was well worth it. We were able to extend the swimming season with minimal out-of-pocket cost due to the government grants. And I'm also interested to see with the pool heat pump electrification, will the cost of running the pool be higher than gas? And how much higher? I think we're waiting to hear back from Burnside Council about that. And also factoring in the upfront purchase cost of that pool pump. I also wanted to say I'm quite pleased that we aren't purchasing carbon credits, but spending our money on projects which give us more local, tangible benefits and make sense economically. Other points, the switch of vehicles to electric vehicles makes sense as they reach the end of their life and not before then. And the initiative to audit energy efficiency is really important and obvious. Reducing energy usage and being more efficient makes sense economically as well as with emissions. Thank you. I support that.
Councillor Bresky.
Look, whilst it's good to understand Scope 3 emissions, I do feel it might be difficult to compare year on year because emissions fluctuate with the level of new capital and capital renewal that we have. So that would just bounce around according to our infrastructure programs. I agree with Councillor Doyle about not purchasing carbon credits. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Good to see that out of 144 participants, 137 joined the Unley virtual power plant network, so that's excellent.
Mover.
I'd actually like to ask a question, if I may. The diesel use in waste collection, that saw a dramatic increase. Is that...
To the chair.
Can we have that explained? Is that related to our new East Waste supplier?
Yes, the CEO's just say to it. I'll take it on notice, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Councillor. Thanks.
Yep, okay, thank you. I have to disagree with my colleagues about carbon offsets. I hope they do read the research that's coming out on how successful those offsets are in actually taking carbon out of the atmosphere and sequestering it. That said, I think that, I'm happy to recommend receiving the report to the chamber.
Those in favour? Unanimous. And well done on the presentation. Clear, precise and brave to be doing Scope 3, because I don't know of any other council that's doing all three, Scope 1, 2 and 3. But we'll give it a go. Community grants. Please, somebody. Councillor Hughes, going to move.
Yes, I'll move in terms, and so I'm very pleased once again that we have this program working in the City of Unley. It's a great motivator for our community clubs and organisations to improve. And we get that improvement in the community with very minimal input from ourselves, except a few dollars. So I commend them to you.
Second, Councillor, no, not
I think
you.
it's me.
Councillor Doyle.
You looked the wrong way. I just wanted to make a comment. We're seeing some of the same names for the grants every year, and some of the applications which are not successful, and just hoping it might be a bit more of a question, but also a rhetorical question. Hopefully we provide feedback to those that are unsuccessful and perhaps offer assistance to next round of grants. And there are some events applications that were rejected because they're events. So hopefully they're directed to the correct grants programs. And it's just a comment really. I obviously seconding this motion, but wondering if we could cast our net a little bit wider and not offer the same grants to the same groups every year.
Councillor Doyle, that observation's been made to me that we've got the same groups circling and we haven't widened our net. Councillor Golden. Sorry, not Vanessa.
Through the chair, thanks, Councillor Doyle. I just wanted to reassure the chamber that we do liaise with our grant applicants, and we do encourage them, especially when we know that their application isn't going to be eligible. We do give them that feedback. We encourage them. Sometimes they have the opportunity to withdraw if it's not an eligible application. Some wish to remain in the mix just in case, I think. We do give them a lot of coaching, support, advice, and we do try to ensure that as many people as possible know about the opportunity to apply for the grants. And this time, you'll see there were, I think, 27 applications. It was kind of oversubscribed by double the budget. So I think that's a pretty good sign overall.
Councillor Palmer.
I'll support this motion. Unlike the comments made previous, I actually looked at the list of names and I was impressed at the fact that we had new names, a number of new names, and I'm encouraged by that. I'm also encouraged by the fact that we had such a number and we had significant numbers not qualify. I trust the admin that they will be talking to each of those applicants so that they are better equipped next time, and we might see some of those actually come up to the point where they actually receive some funding. So on the basis of that encouragement, I'm more than happy to accept the motion.
Councillor Gaffey.
Thanks, Your Worship. Look, I'd like to reiterate what Don has said. I note the Fern Avenue Community Garden finally has some access to funds to help with its portable power, which has been a significant problem for this community garden for quite a while, where they're trying to work out how they're actually able to boil a cup of tea and do one other thing. So this grant, while it seems small, actually will make a tremendous difference to this small group. Plus, I do note the Unley Primary School, and I'm happy to be corrected. I don't remember them being on this list previously there, but encouraging them to develop murals and develop art within our community is a fantastic thing. So, yes, there are some of the familiar names, but as Don has illustrated, we have some different ones as well.
Mover.
Closed.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Next, City Relationships by Councillor Rabid.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, I'd like to move option 1, please. And I think members might note in the second item that there's an addition to what was issued initially.
Yeah, could you highlight the 5 years?
Yep. Okay, thank you. Yeah, look, Council's city relationships policy includes a list of 8 criteria that are considered when selecting a relationship with another city. The report prepared by administration identifies a number of the criteria, and I think from my reckoning it covers all of those 8 items. During a holiday in France last year in December, I went up to Beauvais for the day. I met the mayor, Mayor Pierre, and also his dog. Has his dog in his office during the day. The president of the Twin Cities Committee and the project officer for community life and international relationship in Beauvais. Mayor Pierre is very keen for this jumelage or the twinning agreement to proceed. He and his council believe that we can both cities benefit from the shared knowledge on smart cities, arts and culture, age-friendly issues, environmental sustainability, etc. Members have been advised, I think from when the CEO visited last year, that they've recently completed their arts and museum complex, which is really quite outstanding. Ours will be great as well, of course, when completed. They're also very keen on preserving their heritage and buildings. We're looking at maintaining and preserving the historical buildings of Unley as well. So we have that in common. They've recently redeveloped the inner city pedestrian mall area using permeable paving and gardens, etc., for cooling and attraction seated areas for aged people to sit and have a rest. They've got similar traffic issues to us. Also recently in the inner city area, lowered their speed limits to 30 kilometres an hour. So again, we've got that in common as well. The list goes on. One thing that some members might not be so keen on, they've actually banned e-scooters from the city area because they considered them dangerous. They'd had a few accidents, and e-scooters are no longer allowed in the city zone. The issue arises what costs might be involved, and again the report addresses that issue. There are no immediate costs to the City of Unley. Lots can be done now with other parties through email and Zoom meetings. So I think we can do a lot of work in that area, as has been done. If initiatives do arise in the future which look like costing staff time and money, etc., I think those matters will be brought to Council for consideration at the time. So I think there's real benefits to our community and their community and the relationship, and I encourage members to support the motion.
Second, reserve my right.
Councillor Gaffney.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be supporting this motion. Things like this will inevitably help the City of Unley, the sharing of information, the ability of us to learn different things from another city that has similar challenges and different challenges to us. The airport in Beauvais, which is Paris Beauvais, is perhaps a little bit out of reach for the City of Unley at this stage, but who knows in the future. But I do think that the relationships that we develop with this city will help us improve the City of Unley for the long term.
Mover. Those in favour.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
Sorry.
Thanks for that.
Councillor Brunetsky, if you wish to speak, please, off you go. I'll ask for the vote. No, I'll call the vote in a minute.
Well, we have an issue of process. I think you have to move forward,
okay.
Mayor.
Those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you for that, especially as my wife and I have paid for the tickets at the request of our staff last year, before Dubai was a target for Iran. We'll see what happens. Next, leave of absence for the Mayor, which is what's going on. Moved by Councillor Gaffey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move the option that includes Councillor Hughes' name as acting Mayor for the period 2nd July 2026 to the 17th of July. Both Mayor Hewitson and I will be away during this period, so we require an acting Mayor. Councillor Hughes is the most recent, I believe, acting Mayor who was not a deputy mayor, which would be perhaps 8 years ago. So it appears that he has experience in this role and hopefully will not mess it up in that 2 weeks.
Point of order. Isn't this a position
it's
that
a position,
goes to nomination?
Yes, it
calls
does.
for nominations?
Yes. What I will do, take point of order. If there's only one name, obviously it will go in. If there are more than one name, we're already ready for the vote, Daniel, aren't we? Good. So I'd like to suspend standing orders, please. Could I have 2/3 to just see if anybody... Thank you. We've suspended standing orders. Is there anybody... who is interested in acting for those 3 weeks as acting mayor? Councillor Bonham, Councillor Palmer. We have a vote. So we've suspended standing orders. Please, could you give your bits of paper out, please? Danielle, could you help Danielle? Thanks.
Just nominate one.
Yeah, just write down Councillor Bonham or Councillor Palmer. Bonham.
Hang on, just wait.
Oh, sorry? You're interested to be running? 3 names. Please, could I have up on the... Danielle, could you give those?
Through you, Your Worship, could I just suggest...
Wait a minute. There's 3 names. We'll get the 3 names up there and write down one of the names that appear on the screen.
So through you, Your Worship, if I may.
Yes.
I think members need to be a bit clear, so maybe they just tick the name, but in the past you have allowed each nominee to say a few words as to why they want to act, etc.
Oh, yes, we had to.
Yeah. So
okay.
If you want to keep the previous process, then I suggest
the 3
nominees
people
leave and then we'll bring one in.
Leave the room. We're going to have 2-minute speech from each.
So perhaps Councillor Hughes first.
Councillor Hughes.
Nominated first, then Councillor Bonham second, and
then Councillor Palmer third. Okay. Councillor Hughes, hang on. Okay. Councillor Hughes, off you go. 2 minutes. Sorry? Okay, thank you, Councillor Hughes. At least it was brief. If you'd like to get Councillor Bonham to come in.
We're still being live streamed.
Do you have a 2-minute thing on there?
So, oh.
Thank you, Councillor Bonham. If you could ask Councillor Palmer to come in. And Councillor Russell, it's a long walk round, so when Councillor Palmer's spoken, could you let the others know?
Good evening, members. Hey?
No, it doesn't matter. You get 2 minutes. You can just put that on.
Hey, look, I came here tonight. I wasn't giving much consideration to this item, to be honest, but I was prompted, and as a result of prompting, I pulled up my calendar just to see whether in that 3-4 week period what my commitments were, and I found I'm free. So, on the basis of that, I know I've got the time to fill the job. Look, we're not dealing with council meetings during this period. We are dealing with briefings, obviously, and I've had experience in running the briefings. I see we actually have a citizenship ceremony sneak into that period. I do remember convening one of those and having fun with names like Councillor Gaffey did last week. That sounds like it is.
You got another minute. That's
okay. Gee, that's the second time tonight I've made a mistake. I apologise for that. No, look, I guess the other thing is, as an acting mayor, and I hope this doesn't eventuate, but if something chronic were to happen, you've got to be prepared to put your hand up and deal with the issue. I think I'm someone that's capable of doing that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Russo, could you please put a name? Okay. Can you collect those up, please? Go that way. Your ticket. Hmm? All right. Return. Oh, God. Have you got more? How many have you got? We were told to tick one box.
Yeah, so it's just first past the post, then.
Yes, but sorry? Okay, thank you. Well, we'll go on with the meeting. Well, that won't take long. Sorry?
It's Councillor Hughes.
Pardon? Councillor Hughes?
Yes.
Councillor Hughes. All right. You all got it with me. Put Councillor Hughes as acting mayor, please. Okay. Somebody move then to that motion. Pardon? You're moving.
Happy to move in
Good.
terms.
Okay. Seconded, Councillor Palmer. Mover. Those in favour? Yeah, Councillor Hughes, you're not going to vote against yourself? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Done? Right, next. Confidentiality motion. Mover, Councillor Gaffey. He had his hand up. Seconder, Councillor Palmer.